want now, for this meeting on anger and gratitude, I want to read what I call the manifesto. So this is where I channel my soul. I let my inner guidance write a few paragraphs to help pull together the direction of the meeting, because I get these topics like weeks in advance. I used to get them only like the night before or something, but basically Spirit, my soul, is guiding me like, Carl, you need to work on this. So when I get a topic, I'm like, oh boy, I know that's going to be a really amazing week. It could be very challenging and difficult. It could be really challenging and wonderful, but I'm going to really deal with those issues. And I've actually been dealing with anger for the past few weeks, like really righteous, like outrage, like really hurt, like really hopeless anger, bitter anger coming up, and then seeing it clearly and being able to release it and getting a new clarity and a guidance that I'm so grateful for. So that's definitely this connection between anger and gratitude. If you handle anger properly, you will very quickly change your life for the better and then feel more gratitude. And if you don't, if you hold on to anger, it will destroy you. So let me talk a little bit about this, where in a few paragraphs I was guided to write this to help. And it's interesting that usually I only spend 2 to 3 hours like pulling together ideas for the meeting and then writing a flow about it. I spent like 6 or 7 hours writing this, because I had to write it and rewrite it several ways to finally get to a point where I felt like I'm not angry about anger. I feel a softness, a gentleness, a wisdom that is my soul coming through. To totally respect anger in the human experience, but to also be very clear, like it's just a stepping stone. Anger is meant to transfer us in the direction of true healing, true growth, where we will no longer have those things to be angry about. So anger is a blessing and a curse if you're stuck in it. So let me read this, see what you get from it. Positive anger for good boundaries, gratitude for more gifts of life. There is so much to be angry about in the world today, with many injustices and problems to solve. But did you know that your anger will be what heals you or kills you? And the choice is up to you. How you handle your anger will make all the difference between you being happy, healthy, and grateful for the endless gifts of your life, or dying unhappy and painfully deprived. So this is serious stuff, seriously happy stuff, seriously wonderful stuff. So join us Sunday, February 15, 2026 for a free empowering talk on how your anger can be the key to negative or positive effects that determine whether you're struggling to survive or celebrating to thrive. Higher levels of your own consciousness will guide you to use positive anger to gratefully choose the life that you always dreamed. Now, like many peace-loving folks, I grew up fearing anger as a destructive force. From all the examples I saw around me of people using anger for violence, I concluded that anger was just a bad emotion that I should avoid. And yeah, lots of spiritual traditions like hammer that in. Just don't get angry. You're a nice person if you don't get angry. My parents were like, we don't get angry. We don't get angry. Yeah, come on, you ought to get angry. So avoidance of anger, well, it just made me easily intimidated, scared of confrontation, and that in turn made me deprived, victimized, and pissed off. So I often ended up destructively angry, even though I was trying to not be destructively angry. So, could the truth be that few people know what they're actually doing with anger? The challenge is that anger is not an option in life. Anger is felt when something is not right for you, so you must assert yourself. Positive anger is quick and effective. Hey, I don't like that. And if you're with friends, you will get supported to get what you need. You will become naturally grateful and trusting in honest relationships that are helping you to build a wonderful life. So maybe you get angry with a friend, but like to not throw a screaming fit. You're just like, that makes me angry. And then your friend cares and helps you to draw it out, and you express yourself and you figure out what you need to change. That's the positive. That's the easiest route. And that's what we want to see the world become, a place of support where you can still get angry, you can still try things that aren't right for you and get into situations that aren't right for you, but people want to hear your feelings. You want to hear people's feelings. You help each other figure out what needs to change. The problem today is how to be angry among your enemies. And yes, we do have enemies. There are people who simply do not share our values, and so much don't share our values that they want to kill someone like you. So you don't want to get in their crosshairs. You know, there are a lot of people like protesting for justice, and then I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm not, everybody's a victim here, but people who like go to protests and they get beat up on, that's not the ideal outcome. You don't want that, okay? You want a situation where you're being guided for the best way to change the system without being a victim of it. So yes, positive anger is quick and effective, but how do you be angry in a situation of enemies where you could be attacked if you say and show all of your feelings? Should we get recognition for justice? We get righteous. Should we try to convince people? Or should we just compete and force what we need? Use force, use violence, like get those bad people in jail. The problem is all of those approaches are dominating. And that's what society teaches us. Domination is where you make people do what they don't want to do. Domination is fundamentally ineffective. It will never work. It's one of those false beliefs that you can drop only when you clearly see from your own experience, this will never work. I've got to stop trying to make this work. This is what actually has been ruining my life. That's a shorthand vision of how do I change my beliefs? All this talk of like false negative beliefs are what was ruining my life. They're just holding on to an idea like this should work. It's actually never working. It's trying to hold on to it and make it work is what's ruining your life. When you see it clearly, you drop it. So domination is fundamentally ineffective because every consciousness has its own experience. This is the basis of free will. Modern spirituality explains how reality is a patchwork quilt of all the possibilities in a multiverse. There's no solid reality out there. There's just a lot of possibilities and people who represent those possibilities, different lifestyles. So you just need to find where you best belong, where you belong to thrive. The living, loving universe, behind all of this noise, all of this chaos, all of this collective of possibilities, there's a living, loving universe that wants you to thrive gratefully, not struggle to survive angrily. Struggling to survive will make you forever angry and sick. Stuck chronic anger is deadly. It will result in external violence and internal disease. Because anger is the unstoppable energy of change. And you must ensure that the change you are getting is beneficial, or else it will destroy you. You'll be changed, all right, you'll die. And in a way, death is the ultimate healer. Death is the ultimate way to be done with your problems. But it's not the ideal way. Okay? You want to solve your problems while you're having your life so you can actually enjoy your life after the problems are solved. So violent anger, one form of stuck anger. Violent anger is clearly destructive, but so is repressed anger. Repressed anger, people who are trying to not be angry, they become passive-aggressive, vengeful, mean, and paranoid. Eventually, their bodies change with that anger, and their cells grow out of control. That is cancer, which is epidemic today. Cancer is stuck anger. Cancer is like, I want, something's got to change. I can't change. Your body changes for you. It starts growing out of control. Cancer is often only really cured. Yes, it can be put into remission by drugs, but it's only really cured when a person makes a better lifestyle change, the kind of change that they were always hoping to do, and what was making them angry in the first place. The fact that they didn't make that change. All things, including emotions, have positive and negative forms. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything in life. So there's a right way and a wrong way to use every emotion that comes up. So you need to stop thinking like some emotions are bad, don't do that. I tried that with anger. I just became like repressed angry and righteous anger and stuff like that. The thing is, you have your own best way to live as a unique, worthy creator consciousness in the universe. What's right for you may not be right for someone else, and what's right for somebody else isn't right for you. Positive anger is what will show you the difference. It will show you the difference in values that you must practice to succeed as yourself. You will get angry at someone who's doing something obviously horrible like killing people. You will also get angry at somebody who's just telling you to do something that's not right for you. They may mean well, but they're telling me, like, I should do this to make money. I should do this to have a good time on a date. I should do, and it's like, no, that's not my style. Stop telling me. You will get angry at something that's not the right solution for you. All so-called negative emotions, such as hurt, fear, anger, loneliness, and sadness, these are all energy patterns that you can diagnose to reach a positive outcome. So emotions are not bad in themselves. It's just the negative ones. You need to understand what is causing them, and then it becomes a helpful symptom. The doctor wants to know your symptoms so they can get to the underlying cause. Harnessed, managed emotions will help you to find and fix what you need to change to be happy and grateful again. And the courage to manage your emotions will come from a clarity of positive true beliefs that will reconnect you with your original state of being. Positive true beliefs of how life really works, that your emotions can help you, that there's a positive way to use everything. That's true. And that will give you courage to face everything that you couldn't face when you thought it was only a negative thing, it would destroy you. No, what destroys you is not handling your life. So it's your soul, it's your higher self, which will lead you to the best choices in life for you. Other people don't have to affect you directly. They will affect you indirectly, though. They will show you possible choices. Just let other people be examples of lifestyles. And if you're angry about something, figure out what is the lifestyle choice that isn't right for you. So for this meetup, recall how you tried to handle anger in the past. How have you tried to handle your anger? What worked and what didn't work for you? And where do you feel the anger is still stuck? After check-ins to share and relate, and thank you so much, those are some great check-ins, I will explain the role that anger plays in becoming the powerful creator of your own successful reality. Anger gives you energy to set boundaries in the belief system choices that you need to prosper as human and spirit together. You are a human-spirit partnership. We'll talk about that. You are learning to master belief systems at the mental level of reality creation, which is where the gods battle for power unnecessarily. I'll explain more of what I mean, but what I'm saying is, all those legends, all those myths, like the gods, they aren't afraid. They're kind of fearless. I'm a super being. You see it in the comic book world today. Like all these super beings, they're not afraid. They're not so much hurt. They're invulnerable. Their wounds heal. They're not afraid, but they're angry. They're also friggin' angry at each other. They're all trying to control each other. That's at the mental level. That's the level of belief systems. If you believe that there is endless war, there will be endless war, and you will have gods, these deities of endless war. They're not the highest god. They're not gods of love, but there are lower beings who inspire people to endless war. So, anger, working, yes, you need to prosper as human and spirit working together. The human part of you is what experiences in the world, has your emotions, has your reactions, and then the spirit part of you is the part that steps back and says, whoa, I got these emotional reactions, I want to make sure that they go in a positive direction. So I will use the best spiritual principles and beliefs I know to make sure that my changes are going in a positive direction. Higher guides will call you to believe in your unique worth, but false negative beliefs will invalidate you to feel lonely. And fear of loneliness is what drives people to stay in unhealthy societies for codependent companionship, where negative anger is chronic and gratitude is just angry entitlement. That's a pretty powerful sentence there. Let me unpack it a little bit. I'm saying that fear of loneliness, if you can really face your loneliness is where you are disconnected from the source, where you're disconnected from how good the universe would really be. Loneliness, grief, sadness, all these kind of things, self-pity of just like how bad my life is, These are all sensations, symptoms of a fundamental disconnection. Being afraid of facing that fundamental disconnection is what keeps people going back to dysfunctional relationships. I'm afraid I'll be lonely. I'm afraid I won't make it on my own, so I keep going back to the abusive family, the abusive friends, the abusive job, the abusive whatever. And the abusive whatever is what keeps you angry because it's not right for you. So eventually people get sick and die trying to make society and groups of people work for them that will never work for them because they are based on beliefs that will never work for you. We will learn beliefs and techniques to release the past and welcome a new future of co-creation with our own higher selves. And we will work with those higher selves more in a guided meditation when we conclude this meeting. So let's get into some more detail here. And so I want to talk for probably 20 more minutes and try to get a clear understanding here. One thing, we all have gifts to share. The gift I have to share is that my logical mind, very structured, very logical. I love science. I love rationally thinking things through. But I realized at an early age, my rational, logical mind needed to make sense of what my heart was telling me. So many people have a battle between their head and their hearts. My heart says, I want to make art or love this person. My head says, no, just got to make a lot of money and don't be vulnerable. And it's like, no. So I let my heart lead my head. And that was a good choice because over time, I've come up with a lot of very rational, reasonable structures to understand how good the universe is. And this is possible. You can have completely rational, reasonable belief systems that let through the absolute magic and love of the universe. There is no reason why we can't have total, amazing, miraculous love come through these structures. And nature shows that it's possible. Nature is so amazing, miraculous, because it's a structure that works. Positive belief systems are the beliefs that let through what really works for you. All belief systems tend to try to convince you this is the only way that works for you. Because a belief system, it's how to have any experience. A belief system is your story, your narrative. You don't experience anything if you have no story, no narrative, no consciousness, no sense of where I'm coming from, where I'm trying to go, my goals, who am I, my personality, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. You need that stuff. There are a lot of people who try to give that all up to get to some bliss, some nirvana, and they think I'm blissed out, having given up on all my human issues. That must be the goal of the universe. No, it's fine. If you temporarily need to let go of everything and experience how good the universe feels, great, go for that. But then come back to being human. A lot of people, spiritual people, they give up on being human. This is the spiritual bypassing. I got to a higher bliss. I want to stay there. My human life is dragging me down. Oh, that must not be good for me. I want to give up on life. I just can't wait to have my last lifetime. No, I want to have my last suffering lifetime. I want to be here. I see that nature is full of good, healthy, true positive beliefs. Physics, biochemistry, it works. Amazing things come through physics and biochemistry. Life comes through. Consciousness comes through. It works. Obviously, there's something really positive and helpful about that belief system. So that's our goal, to let our head be guided by our heart, to figure out how the beautiful things that we'd love to see someday, they are real, they do make sense, and we can let go of the things that don't make sense, the things that don't work in the world. Everything, every suffering, painful situation, simply because there's a misunderstanding of the real principles of the universe. It would be solved if we let go of a false belief that we keep trying to make work that will never work. A false belief I have to change other people. No, you have to change yourself. A false belief I'm a loser. I had one chance and I blew it. No, you always get another chance. The universe loves you. A false belief that I have to work hard to get stuff and then I'll be happy. No. The universe has already given you plenty of good stuff to be happy from. Happiness creates more happiness. You want to tune into, I call it grow your own seeds. That's my phrase from my soul for what law of attraction really is. Grow your own seeds. Basically, if you want more of an experience, you want to be more happy, remember the times you were happy and build on that. You got to build on something that you already have. So the seeds of all things are in all things. Don't worry, you already have a starting experience, some precedent for everything you want to increase in your life. You know, the truth, the happiness, the creativity, the love. You've had some of that. You just need to grow that. False beliefs say, no, focus on the injustice. And then you change that. You will change people, and then you'll become happy because you got rid of all the unhappiness. Then you'll have peace because you got rid of all the people that wanted to make war. Then you're becoming the person who is your own worst enemy. You're the one who's like keeping yourself from experiencing happiness because you're chasing down all the unhappiness. I'm going to fix everything, make it perfect. It's like there's so many experiences of this kind of false approach to life. So if this is a fundamental vulnerability of the human being. To be human is to live inside of a belief system. You want to live inside positive beliefs that let you be in tune with nature and have the most wonderful life. And it's like, yeah, you can still have a spiritual higher awareness that, like, in a sense, human existence, all this physical stuff is a kind of illusion. But if you got positive beliefs, it's a really great illusion. I love it. The beliefs say that it's true, and it's like, you're right, it works for me. I'm happy to go along with Earth life as long as it's wonderful. It's when things are horrible, that's when you need to step back and say, I was believing something that isn't true for me. Maybe it's not true for anyone, a really destructive belief like, I have to change and conquer other people to make the whole world good for me. That'll never work, because reality is fundamentally a collective of possibilities. There will always be some possibilities you want more of, some possibilities you want less of. Or it could be just beliefs that aren't right for you, but they're good for other people. So that's what we're trying to get to, by the way. That's the future vision. We're getting away from a world of good and evil, of like fight to the death, like people who want peace and people who want war, people who want to save the planet and work with nature, and people who want to destroy the planet and just maximize their money or power. There are people like that. Forget it. Don't try to change them. You need to let them go and let the universe put them in a different reality. It's a multiverse. They will go to a different reality. It's your anger at the people that you aren't right with that's going to help you identify the values that you do more of. So you get angry at people who exhibit things that are right for you, and then just choose more of what is right for you. So if you see people doing, horrible things in the world, like, killing people or whatever, I call it a value separation exercise. This is what my soul gave me, and there's a video on this in my YouTube channel. But basically, you sit down with the contrast. My emotions tune me into people that aren't right for me. I want to think about, what do they value? They value war. What do I value in contrast? I value peace. Let's choose more of the peace, practice more peace in my life, and let the universe separate us naturally. People will separate who have different values. As long as you feel stuck in a world of people who don't share your values, yeah, you do conflict in many values with people, but there's something holding you to people, some kind of shared belief, and the shared belief that we all have to fight over, making the world one good place. That's what everybody's thinking. Everybody's thinking the world would be great if they all just did it my way. Even spiritual, nice people, they're thinking like, the world would be great if everybody just did a nice, peaceful life like my way. It's like, nope, you cannot dominate people that way. So that's kind of another little nutshell presentation of what I'm talking about. Let me get to some diagram here. All right, so I want to draw, let's see, here. First of all, people who have been here before, they've seen my diagrams, simple maps. We want to have concepts. This is part of the belief systems that work. Some kind of map that will make sense of the universe. And remember, it's just an overview. It's not that things are actually separated on a map. It's just that this is the direction. This is the way to understand how it all connects. So you on the earth, here's your human self on the earth. Give them a smile. You've been having a good time. And up here, we'll picture the source. This is the background wisdom and intelligence of the universe. This is the real living, loving universe that wants you to thrive, to have a good time. Of course it wants you to thrive and have a good time. Just like you want every organ in your body to be healthy and happy. And you don't expect different organs to do each other's jobs. You want every part of your body to be doing its own unique job in the place where it belongs, healthy and happy. That's how the universe feels about you. You are unique. You have a purpose. You have a mission. The universe is supplying you to thrive. So, your version of the universe, your way of thriving in the universe, that's your own soul. So your soul is like a circle within the greater circle. Your soul is always guiding you with intuition, with the guidance you need to be in the right place at the right time, basically. Now, as higher beings, we don't have to follow our intuition anymore. Intuition, instincts, that's what animals follow. That's what nature follows. But it took millions of years of evolution to come up with like a handful of good instincts, of good biochemical instincts. Even better would be if a being could consciously, directly, psychically connect with their source, with their higher self, with all the positive beliefs in a paradise. Because this is real. This isn't like some vague spiritual stuff. Like, oh, if you do the right thing, you'll tune into like, no, this is real. This is solid. There are worlds of your higher being that are more solid and real than this world we're in now. And they want to guide you to live more like they do and have more of their kind of world. Your reality would quickly morph into a paradise the more that you function with and you're guided by your higher self. So, as higher beings, sure, we have instincts and intuitions, but we've long since overlaid those with lots of choices, trying to find consciously what would work better, faster than evolution. So yeah, people can make choices, and obviously we've polluted and corrupted the world with a lot of choices that weren't healthy. But we've also, human beings have made a lot of beautiful choices. So remember, always see that the world is half of what you'd like more of and half of what you want less of. So let it be. In the human experience, you have your emotions and you want to respect them. You want to value your emotional reactions. That's your biofeedback from your soul of what's right for you and what's not right for you, your emotions. Happy emotions, you want more of that stuff. Unhappy emotions, you want less of that stuff. Just the thing with the unhappy, negative emotions, you don't want them to run you, because at the human level, you're feeling like you're trapped in a belief system, so your anger is going to say, just get rid of all the bad guys. But your spirit is going to step back and say, aha, I need to get rid of the beliefs that the bad guys are demonstrating. So that's where you step back, you feel your feelings, and you can step back with some perspective. And now I can be the spiritual being, a little wiser, and I can realize, like, yeah, I don't want to chase down bad guys. There's endless bad guys, law of attraction. If I'm always like valuing fighting bad guys, well, then the universe will just give me endless bad guys. I don't want to go in that direction. I want to get to the heart of the problem. And the heart of the problem is to realize there is a structure to the universe that becomes more evident when you're more conscious. So animals, plants, nature, beautiful. Like they love, they have feelings, they have thoughts, but they don't have conscious free will. They don't choose to do something other than what their instincts would tell them to do. You don't see animals driving cars, wearing fashion, going to different ecosystems. But humans can do that, and it's okay. You're meant to do that. Humans are actually generalists. You notice that, like, we don't run the fastest. We don't have good fur to keep us warm. We can't dig a burrow to hide. Basically, humans, the only thing we have going for us is our human brain. We need to problem solve. Evolution has stacked us with only one gift, to be able to solve problems. So you're fundamentally not outfitted to thrive until you engage your brain and start making clothes, making shelter, making friends, making, agriculture, working with nature, cultivating. Like, humans are meant to do that. So you're meant to be this spiritual being, and this is the spirit-human partnership. The spiritual decider part of you decides what beliefs, what choices work best for you. And the human experiencer side of you is in the game, experiencing your choices, giving you feedback like, yeah, that was a good choice, I'm happy. Oh, that was a bad choice, I ended up with like some really toxic people. So let it be a fundamental feedback system back and forth. Human experience, spiritual decider. And your spiritual decider is reaching for higher guidance. So this is where your soul, in addition to unconscious instincts, your soul will send you consciously your higher self with all the answers you will ever need, and your future self with the next answers you need. There's a whole path of conscious interaction with the spiritual world that happens on this side of working with your human self and making sure all of your reactions go in a positive direction. So, the 4 archetypal levels of the physical, the emotional feelings, the mental thoughts, and the spiritual values, inspirations. Very archetypal, and it's at this level of the mental, this is where our belief systems reside. We use thoughts and feelings to get enough experience in the physical world to get some generalization, get some idea of like, oh, the reason why I keep having these experiences is because I believe that all people were greedy and out to use me. Now, beliefs are very generalizing. You're going to realize negative beliefs, like, they're just unfair generalizations. All people are bad. They're not all bad. All people are good then. No. See, beliefs, negative false beliefs tend to be very extreme, flip-flopping back and forth. Like, everybody's your friend? No. Everybody's your enemy? No. Some people are your friend. Oh, that's a true positive belief. True positive beliefs have an overall perspective, including the negativity. This is what's very interesting about the side of life, the side of collective that's good for you is more of the true positive beliefs. They give you a total perspective. They will tell you the truth. They're like, some people are good for you, some people are not good for you. Learn to handle both situations. The negative beliefs, those are the ones that say everybody should be your friend or everybody should be your enemy, and then you just end up kind of constantly misusing your life. So negative beliefs that will make you fundamentally dysfunctional until you realize, like, oh, that's just an unfair generalization of life. Life is more complex. I need more positive beliefs of how to handle things. So what you want is effectively beliefs that act like a tube, and they let through the guidance of your soul, and they will let through this whole more conscious experience of the spiritual world. False beliefs are like a blockage where your guidance can't come through. You think everybody's your enemy. You become righteous with anger that's stuck, and you don't get the guidance. You just get impulses, reactions, survival reactions. And survivalism, that's when people turn really nasty. And the survivalism, that's when people become more and more like a devil character. They're basically, you want to have compassion for people who are really like obnoxious, dominating, dangerous. They're basically so lost. They're just in endless survivalism. They have no sense of like safety, trust, working with other people. They're just in a survival mode of like, I got to kill anybody that threatens me. So you don't want to be like that. You want to somehow back away from that. So what we want to look at is, let's see how much time I'm running low on time. Okay, the talk will run over. The meditation runs longer. You just stick with me and get the recording if you need. But I need to cover some basic concepts here. So the basic concept here is there are 2 main paths in life: the positive and the negative. How to handle life positively and negatively. Let's first say the negative side. We're very familiar with that. The negative side is that you experience a blockage of false beliefs. You believe things that never work, and yet you believe this is the only way it should work, because that's what negative beliefs do. They tell you this is the only thing. You have to do this. You have to dominate the world. It has never worked for me to convince anybody, to convert anybody to my side perfectly. Well, it's going to work. You got to keep doing it. There's no alternative. Yeah, there is an alternative. True positive beliefs will say, change yourself, align with your soul, and the reality will change around you. So blockages, it's when you're holding on to false beliefs that'll never work. Then the next level, if you hold on to false beliefs, you get at the mental level, you get an adapted lifestyle. Negative benefits, let's just call it. It's an adapted lifestyle. It's like, well, someday I'll get justice, but until then I'm righteously angry, and I'm constantly railing against the wrong things in the world. And like, you get your payoffs, you get your negative benefits. I get to be a blaming, victimized, righteously angry, person. I get to blame, and I get to avoid responsibility, and I get to like, it doesn't matter. I've talked to many spiritual people who are so righteously angry. They want revenge against, all the dictators and stuff. And I say, well, don't you see how you want revenge? They want revenge. How is that different? Well, it's different. I get to be righteously angry. I get to want revenge because I'm not violent. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just have to do this. It's like, what makes you think they don't feel the same way? It's like, no, if you're doing negative things that your enemy is doing, you got to find the false beliefs that were connecting you, that trap you in righteous anger. So negative benefits. People keep buying into justifying, I get to be this way because I'm the victim, because of this and that. If you hold on to that, you will get codependencies. This is when you get locked into toxic relationships. And, of course, that's just going to feed more righteous anger and more outrage. And then eventually you get illness. You get disease. Like I said, anger is going to eat you up. It's going to become a cancer. It's like your body is saying, well, if you won't make a change for the better, our cells are just going to grow out of control until you die. And then that's a kind of change. You die and you go to the afterlife and you get to review the mistakes you made and hope you can try it again someday. But you don't want that. We want to have heaven without dying. Okay, you can have the spiritual world without having to die to go fully consciously in it. You can be conscious of the spiritual world while in the world, and while in the physical world. So the positive side is you feel your feelings. And the positive side is that you choose your ideals. You choose your values. So this is where you use your anger to identify people who did you wrong. And then instead of continuing with the righteous anger down a negative path, it's I could use my anger to destroy them and want revenge forever. But that's going to eat me alive. That's going to ruin my life. I won't have a good life because I'm so busy trying to get justice and revenge. At some point, you just settle back and you say, you know what? I'm glad a person exists to show me the wrong way to live. What's the right way to live? So instead of my blockages, I'm going to choose my ideals. These are my values. I believe in life while those people choose death. I believe in kindness while those people choose domination and threats. I clarify your ideals. And then principles. Principles, that's when you figure out the rules that you need to live by to have more of your ideals. I choose love. I value love. That will get me away from the people who don't value love. That will start to change my reality. So I trust you, universe. I'm going to be a more principled person. How do I practice love? We'll figure out the ways that work for you, or practice honesty and communication, practice good leadership, practice whatever your values and ideals are. Figure out the things. I will tell the truth whenever I can. I will, be honest with myself. I will be kind. I will apologize quickly if I make a mistake. I will, all these kind of things. Those are your principles, your rules you live by. Whereas on this side, negativity, don't you give me any rules. That's what we see. The most negative people in the world today, they're complete rebels without a cause. They constantly ruin their own life because they're constantly violating any kind of principles. Be a principled person. That will give you strength. Then you'll develop character. That's where you become a person who you can actually rely on yourself. You don't just there are people who have good principles. Oh, I'm so honest, except when I need to lie. I'm so kind, except when I need to be mean. They have no character. You want to be a person who actually follows through on your values, your rules for your values. You become a character-based, reliable person, and that's when you have health. Instead of illness, you will have health, and the health will include a better reality around you. You will meet better people. So what I want to say next is just some of the emotions, the emotional connection. So what are the emotions that go with these? Maybe I could have left some more room here, but basically at the blockage level, the emotion let's start from the bottom up. At the illness level, if you're going down this negative path instead of the positive path, and don't feel bad, we all have stuff to unearth and change in ourselves, but at the illness level, you're going to feel hurt. So this is connecting over here. All of the hurt emotions, all of the pain, pain is more general disconnection from a good life, but all the kinds of physical hurt, all the kinds of, emotional hurt, all the kinds of hurt of illness, that's a whole category of emotions. And then at the level of codependency, you will feel fear. This is the archetypal all the anxiety, all the fear, all the panic, basically you're thinking like, what's going to happen if I'm with those people? If I can't change? Well, you can change. You got to change the beliefs. The beliefs, what help you to change beliefs is your anger. All the angry type emotions. I'm frustrated, I'm outraged, I'm righteous. I'm like, good, feel that. But remember, all of these are the negative emotions. You don't want to stick with them. You want to use them to find what are they a symptom of. And the symptom will be a lifestyle of negative beliefs to change. And the top level where you have a blockage, loneliness, grief, sadness, a sense of what you're missing in life. There's a progression of emotions here, and we're going to do this more in the meditation. There's a progression of emotions, and I was saying the idea of at the anger level. So many people get stuck in anger as they fantasize all of the ways of getting revenge and righteous, and this is the level where you can tune into like gods of war. The comic book level, comic book way to live life. It's like, I'm going to get all this revenge and righteousness, and I'm going to get justice and the Justice League and whatever, like all the good guys versus bad guys. It's all stuck anger, though. Underneath the anger, when you've had enough anger that you realize, like, I want to change some negative beliefs to my principles. I want to believe more in the love instead of the hate that those people do. I don't want to stay angry at people who are hating. I want to become a person who's loving, and I'll meet more loving people. And you become much more of an inspired person as you shift to the positive side. The problem is you're going to come up to dealing with loneliness. And this is where I was mentioning the fear of loneliness. People are so afraid of facing just how disconnected and lonely they can feel, and the grief. And I'll tell you a secret for dealing with that top level, because you need to reconnect with your soul. You need to reconnect with just how good the universe is. You don't want to stay in a pocket of like, okay, I'm a peaceful person. I don't want to be afraid. The universe will supply me. You can go down a path of compromise. You can get into a smaller and smaller life just because I'm avoiding anger. I'm avoiding fear. I'm making do with what I have. I live with my hurts. I'm just grateful. You can go down a hole. There are people who are grateful for like diminishing, like shrinking life. You want to be grateful for an expanding life, not a shrinking life. The difference is you got to deal with that loneliness. You got to deal with that top level of a sense of like how good my life could have been, how good your life still can be. So a key emotion to feel, to process, is self-pity. Ooh, self-pity, that's a big one that people really pick on. People really like punishing, like judging of self-pity. No, self-pity is really important. That's where you get to that top level and you realize like, my life should have been so nice. Why aren't people nice to me? I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to be afraid anymore. I don't want to be hurt anymore. Why didn't I have a better life? Like, you feel sorry for yourself. So, self-pity is actually a really valuable emotion. It's a gateway to making huge life changes because you're bringing the spotlight on yourself. Yes, it's dramatic. Yes, you end up saying, like, I am the most suffering person in the world. No, other people are more suffering. Oh, now I feel guilty because I felt... No, don't go that direction of guilt and all. That's actually a form of anger again. Guilt, depression, anxiety, what's another one? Worry. These are all forms of anger. There's a lot of forms of anger that society has institutionalized, but very little really dealing with the grief and the loneliness and the sadness for what could have been if you were connected with the source. Feel that self-pity. You do it. Thing is, self-pity is kind of like, it's a great emotion, but it turns sour very quickly, like milk. It turns sour very quickly. You want to feel your self-pity, get the spotlight on yourself. Oh, it's like, my life is so hard. This is the worst. It could have been so great. It wasn't. It's like, oh, I'm so abandoned. I'm so unappreciated. I'm so misunderstood. Feel just genuinely sorry for yourself. That gets the spotlight of your consciousness on you. And then shake it off and realize, like, okay, now that I'm focused on myself and how much my life should have been better, let's call in for help. And you call in for help and you realize, like, the universe, your higher self, they're all waiting. They're like so eager to give to you, help you, guide you with positive beliefs. Your self-pity can actually be a real gateway to curing the loneliness, to curing the grief. But so many people are afraid of really looking at their loneliness because they're afraid of the false beliefs that say there is no other solution, there is no God, there is no this, there is no that. False beliefs are false. Don't believe it when they keep saying, like, I'm the only way. You have to kill all your enemies to have peace. And like, no, that doesn't make sense. No, feel your self-pity. Insist there's got to be a better way. Then when you're done with the self-pity, I'm sick of feeling sorry for myself. I really just want a better life now. Call it in and you will start getting guidance. Your life can improve right away when you're ready, because you've processed the other emotions. You're taking it in a positive direction. You're willing to make the negative emotions that would have by themselves sent you down further a path of conflict. Instead, you're willing to take them as symptoms, help your human being out of their pit, and call in more of the guidance. You feel the separation from your guidance. It's a loneliness. You feel the self-pity. You keep going. I believe in the best beliefs. And grow your own seeds. Like I said, you have precedents in your life. You have experiences to build on. You have good memories to grow. Don't get stuck on the things that don't work for you. That's the half of the collective reality that isn't right for you. Focus more on growing, nurturing, and because they're not just memories. The things that you remember or the things that you fantasize, they're not just fantasies. They are right here, right now. Your human self, with time and space, with the past and the future, you are actually tuning into a real eternal energy right now. So your best memories, use it as a portal, as a doorway to the best energies that you want more of right now. And your best fantasies, don't insist, I've got to have this happen. Just that kind of thing. I enjoyed that fantasy. Universe, I'm ready for more of that kind of energy. When you're flexible with the energy, your human self will be safe and happy enough, and the universe will give you more of your good energies, your best energies, in the best forms that work for you. Your higher self knows where to guide you to meet the right opportunities, the thing around the next corner. You had no idea. You can't even imagine the solutions that your higher self has ready for you. Just let yourself follow good energy and you will get there.